Hello again, rail fans. We're going to chase some trains today, but first a message, and what I think is an important one. You've probably seen the video shot by a bystander in Pecos, Texas. A lowboy tractor trailer hauling a wind turbine base got stuck on the railroad while trying to cross the tracks. In moments, mere moments, a Union Pacific intermodal came through at track speed, hit the stuck trailer at 68 miles an hour. That crash killed 2 of the crew members on that train. Now, after the truck got stuck, I don't know how much time the driver had before the train got there. In any case, he should have known about the blue signs on that crossing. Those are called ENS signs. ENS for Emergency Notification System. The signs contain a telephone number, the crossing identification number, and the name of the railroad. They may also contain a milepost number, but they don't have to anymore. If you get stuck on a crossing, ever, no matter where it is and what kind of track it is, find that blue sign. Call the number on it, give them the crossing ID number, and tell them what the trouble is. Call AAA or 911 after that if you need to, but only after you've called the number on the blue sign and told them that your vehicle is blocking their track. I don't know if this would have prevented the crossing collision in Pecos, but it might have. And it certainly is the best way to prevent getting hit by a train if you're stuck on the track. Okay, now let's hit the high iron.
7222, 3327, got advance approach north Y, approach south leg of the Y, number 1 track, southbound.
I got an email from a subscriber recently, and he wanted to know what I meant by pulling by and backing in. I'm sure I said it about this place, Winston Y in Lakeland, Florida. The maneuver, pull by and back in, is usually done at a yard that's perpendicular to the main line, like here at Winston or Tampa's Rockport. Train L772 is doing a pull by and back in today at Winston. He's coming in from the east out of the yard at Auburndale. I believe this is M452's consist. The 452 crew must have run out of time and couldn't get their train all the way into Winston. Under federal law, train crews can work a maximum of 12 hours in a 24-hour period. So if time assembling the departure train, delays on the main line, or delays getting into the destination terminal add up to 12 hours, the crew must stop where they are, tie down the train, and call for a ride to the hotel or wherever they're staying. Okay, now all that has nothing to do with pulling by and backing in, but it may explain why this is local 772 instead of M452.
Let me get 50 more, 50.
772 is coming south on the number 1 track, but in order to get to the south yard lead, he has to pull all the way by the 1 to 2 crossover switch, then begin his backing move, pulling by and backing in.
All right, I need 20 more, 20. All right, 20.
His orders are to back the train into the yard because blocks of cars at the head end will go right back out on a local to Davenport and on M604 north to Waycross.
Just cleared the signal. You can start easing it down there, 3327. All right, 3327. We got a slow approach here, south end, Winston Y. I'm up riding, you can shove on it starting with 20. Alright, slow approach, you're on point 13.
As he stops just beyond the crossover, the conductor climbs on. He'll be the engineer's eyes as he backs this 8,000-foot train into the yard. This is called riding the bottom. Now begins the 2-mile backward move into Winston Yard. Because the yard lead to Winston is a Y, trains coming from the other side, from the south side, can pull by and make the same backing move into the yard.
Gate down, crossing protected. Let me get 20 more, 3327. That's 20 more.
After that, I moved up the hill to South Lakeland. Amtrak 91 was just coming out of his station stop and headed to Tampa. This was late November 2024, and the GE locomotives were still common on Amtrak's Atlantic Coast trains.
Approach limited here. South Lakeland.
From there, I moved on northwest about 2.5 miles. This is the Fairbank Street crossing on the Vitus Sub in Lakeland. The 20-mile-long Vitus subdivision is how to get from Lakeland to the Florida S-Line on ex-ACL rails. They can also go via Plant City, but that way is longer, and the route has a 10 miles per hour bottleneck at the Plant City connection. This is M604, nightly traffic out of Winston that includes a large block of Bone Valley phosphate in jumbo-covered hoppers. The two GE ES44ACH locomotives at the head end are certainly earning their keep with this haul. The heat melt above them gives that away. The phosphate block includes 11 brand new Trinity 3-bay hoppers, as yet unblemished by graffiti vandals. That's followed up by empty molten sulfur tanks. Sulfur is used in the phosphate making process. Behind those are a big block of mostly 60-foot double-door boxcars, TTX Next Load Any Road T-boxes, with some Cryotrans refrigerated cars mixed in. Then lots more tanks and lots more empty hoppers. Two weeks later, I'm out on a Saturday trying to intercept M442. I'm set up at a private crossing named Candis Road. This one is at the south end of Knight Siding on the CSX S-Line. Here, we're about 5 miles north of Plant City. A private crossing is just what it says, a private road or driveway coming off a public road and leading to a farm, ranch, or rural acreage usually. Private crossings almost never have warning lights or gates, just a stop or yield sign. They are maintained by the railroad, but only to keep up track structure and ensure that drivers can get over the rails safely. Watch how this FedEx truck climbs up over the track and then goes downhill on the other side. You're not likely to drive a lowboy trailer over a private driveway like this, but it happens, and it's a perfect trap for a problem. That's why even these private crossings have blue ENS signs, one on each side with all the contact and location information that's needed. Pretty soon, here comes M442 up from Tampa and heading for Waycross. Watch now for the arm waving at us out the window. That's conductor Ronnie Sally sitting in the left seat today. 442 is a big one today, 468 axles, and is hauling just about everything but the kitchen sink. I thought I would try to catch Ronnie on the 442 one more time, so I broke off and headed up State Road 39 toward Zephyr Hills. And when I got to the Chancey Road crossing just outside of Vitus Junction, this was all I got. 442 slowing down for southbound M453, who was going through the Vitus Junction right now. When he cleared the crossing, I tried to leapfrog around him, hoping to catch 442 on the curve at Bushnell. I was catching up with him about Ridge Manor, but he was still ahead of me.
CFX detector, milepost 787.3.
We both hit St. Catherine about the same time, but he was still ahead by about a half mile. I was gaining on him, though.
XTM 442 28, lead into CSX 3460, clear St. Catherine, train 2 to single lane northern.
As I rolled into town, another page from the files of what else can go wrong. A tractor in front of me, a literal slow-moving vehicle. I managed to sashay around him, but 442 was already triggering the crossing signals here. A quick turn onto Market Street, which parallels the track, but too late to stop at the curve, my preferred shooting spot, and get on the right side of the track. So I went up a couple of blocks and stopped at a lunch place I'd been eyeing for some time, Coney Island Hot Dogs. A quick run across the street, no tripod, on the dark side of the train, and very little battery left. Coney Island Hot Dogs is right on Market Street at the north end of town. The way they've got the place decorated, you know it's going to be fun. The $6 shrimp box sounded great, but I was already locked in on a chili dog. I loved this, even though it was a little too chilly for lemonade today. And that's a tank car, not a box car, but I loved it. Inside, the fun continues. Big boy mementos, lots of memorabilia. I love license plates. I think these guys are from Pennsylvania. What do you think? Plenty of other homages to railroading, too. I got served really quick and went right out to the truck to eat, but I stopped and said hi to a friend in the parking lot, and that took a few minutes. Now, takeout chili dogs are never very stylish food, and this one was no different, but man, it was delicious. While I was talking to the friend, too much time had elapsed to try and pick it up, so I had to eat this chili dog with a fork. No matter though, delicious. With a giant iced tea, it was about $11 out the door. Next time I'm in Bushnell, I'll try the shrimp basket. By now it was after 1500 and the clouds began rolling in. Not great video making weather, but I stuck with it anyway. I knew that M604 was coming out of Lakeland and would be here soon. A quick examination of the crossing signals finds the blue signs in place on both sides of the track. The signal had just gone green for M604, but I wasn't hearing him yet on the radio. The Main Street crossing is literally at the south end of Bushnell siding. It's usually easy to find the railroad location of the siding. It's often written on the signal bungalow, along with the milepost location. Newcomers will sometimes assume this means southeast Bushnell. It's an honest mistake. This is South End Bushnell at the S776.02. Bushnell siding is 10,904 feet, but it's straight as a rifle shot. That's why you'll often hear train crews call out on the radio, "Clear all the way through Bushnell." They can see signals at both ends at the same time, especially on clear nights. The main line with the green signal is on the left. The siding with red signals is to the right. Coming out of St. Catherine, the track makes a gentle curve to the left as it lines up to go through town. 1620, and here is M604 fresh out of Lakeland and headed for Waycross. Note those two loaded tanks on the head end. Corn syrup, that usually comes into Florida. It's hard to know what's going on there. Today he does have the usual hefty block of loaded phosphate hoppers, but no sulfur and no empty tea boxes. Too bad it was cloudy. This shot at this time of a winter's day can be beautiful if it's sunny, and it usually is. I moved on into Wildwood, and even though I was running out of light, I stopped at the yard to see what I could see. One of the friends of the channel wrote me recently and asked, how do train crews know when to blow their horn for highway crossings? I thought it was a great question, and here's a good spot to illustrate the answer. These little signposts are placed by the track where a crossing is coming up. If track speed is fast, they'll be far back from the crossing, like here, 1,260 feet. If the track speed limit is low, the W's can be as little as 100 feet away. The rule is the horn must be sounded for at least 15 seconds, but no more than 20 seconds in advance of a public grade crossing. On CSX, the W signals tell engineers when it's time to blow. When there's a W with an X below, as here at Dade City, it indicates more than one crossing is coming up in a short distance, and basically to make sure you've sounded the horn for each of them. Back at Wildwood, the southward absolute signal for track 1 is showing high green. Someone is coming toward us from the north. Well, it's M603, southbound counterpart to M604. With 500 axles, it sounds like he's a sizable consist tonight.
M603, 28 lane 527, got a clear Wildwood number 1 track south there.
He maintains track speed as he snakes past the yard on the main line.
Clear turnpike, we're on track 1, 5270, we head south.
603 is a mix of 60-foot boxcars, tanks, and hoppers. Lots of hoppers. Grain hoppers for Purina in Mulberry. Bulkhead flats with wooden power poles for Westlake Wales. More boxcars and more miscellaneous. Well, it was kind of a gloomy day out there for the second half, and that's just the chances you take. We're still having those kind of days down here. It's an unusual January here on the Florida West Coast. Now, you may have noticed I got a brand new sign on the fence. The one right there below the southern whistle post, Begin High Springs Absolute Block. That was given to me by my North Florida friend Travis Taylor. He gave me several signs. I haven't gotten the others up there yet, but that High Springs Absolute Block is one that I think is pretty rare. It's smaller than a usual absolute block sign, DTC signs, I guess we used to call them. But that came off of the High Springs route up there. Can't remember what subdivision. That might have been the Gulf Coast subdivision up there between Newberry and High Springs, Florida. And that track is all gone now, as far as I know. That's an ex-Atlantic coastline track. It was part of the AR line that went from Lakeland, Florida to DuPont, Georgia, up on the Bow Line. So that's a very special piece there, so thank you, Travis. Now, if you enjoyed this video, which I hope you did, please hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done that. And write your comments in the comment section down below. I read all of those and try to reply to as many as I possibly can. That's where I get a lot of the ideas for these videos, so thank you very much for all of those comments. Let's plan to meet up again somewhere soon, somewhere out there on the high iron. Till we do, this is Danny Harmon, out.